Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North America, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers. Fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like porch lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, they're scorched tight. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
To this day. To this day.
TV.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North America, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers. Fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like porch lights. The meek shall inherit the earth. Oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls. Niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft. Yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft. And then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Bless.
Crumb TV.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. Peace to you and yours. Peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Saturday Night Live. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theta Waves by the Twin Pillars. All right. Peace, love, and light to everybody in the building pulling up. I see you. All right. I see you. Salute. Greetings. All right. On this beautiful Saturn day in June. How's everybody doing? Wholeness to the family. All right. Yes. Let's go ahead and do roll call. Let's see who's in the building and let's get this show started. We have a lot to talk about. We are on the eve of our monumental lecture featuring the Twin Pillars, Fear of a BLACKAMOOR 44, ladies and gentlemen. It is basically my victory lap. It is our victory lap. 10 years in the workings, 10 years in the making. Fear of a BLACKAMOOR 44, ladies and gentlemen. And boy, oh boy, does the great divine speak through signs, because man, oh man, have they set the table, full entree, 7-course meal, man. The way that the universe has set the table for this lecture to be not just a classic, but one for the ages. What a way to bookmark 10 years of research. What a way to bookmark 10 years of just constant decoding, recoding, and whatnot. What a way to bookmark the fear of a BLACKAMOOR, because it's so evident right now. We actually have the world stage. If you really pay attention to FIFA, forever I fuck with AI, but FIFA, if you pay attention to the FIFA games, listen, you're looking at a galactic conversation. You're looking at a narrative, a cosmos narrative, right? You're looking at centuries upon centuries of narrative playing out on that quote unquote football field. Yeah. But man, oh man, it is very, 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 very telling when you see the rise of all of the melanated football teams, when you see the rise of Africa on that global stage, when you see the rise of those Moorish those Moorish players and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? When you see the rise of all of that, you know, then you already know what it is. The symbolism of it all. Okay, those are the sons out there kicking ass, doing what they do. So me and Blue are going to be in the building, and we want you to be in the building with us. This is actually going to be the monologue. All right, we'll be playing some clips from the lecture that I will be doing tomorrow. I will be playing some clips, letting you guys know, what's going to be talked about. But yeah, we deep diving. We're gonna be going in. And we also going to be playing some clips from some things that have been going on that fit perfectly in alignment with the conversation that we will be having tomorrow for this lecture. Okay. Yes, indeed. Let's see. I do want to say rise in power to Mama Khadija, Minister Louis Farrakhan's wife, may transition today. And I know that she's been very instrumental in a lot of his great works, you know. So we want to send out, you know, that was a mother figure right there. So we definitely are sending out love and light to Mama Khadija. All right, let's go ahead and do this roll call. We got Cleveland in the building. We got Queens in the building. We got Gastonia in the building. Charleston is in the building. Anacostia in the building. Iowa's in the building. You know, are Cabo Verdeans considered Moors? Yes, of course they are Moors. Toledo, Ohio. When you look at the Cabo Verdeans, I'm not saying that that's how some of the Moors look, but I'm saying that that's how some of the Moors look. Okay. Kansas City, Missouri in the building. Chino Hills in the building. All right. Lansing, Michigan in the building. Detroit is in the building. Australia is in the building. Dallas, Texas in the building. Boston in the building. Kansas City, Missouri in the building. Texas in the building. Phoenix is in the building. DMV is in the building. Norfolk in the building. Fort Worth in the building. Columbia is in the building. Brooklyn in the building. Jersey in the building. Broward in the building. Cali in the building. B Moore. Shout out to B Moore. Shout out to St. Petersburg. Shout out to New Bedford. Shout out to Colorado. Indianapolis. Detroit. What's happening? Griffin up in this thing. Griffin, Georgia. Philadelphia. North Las Vegas. Junction City. Kansas City. 7 Mile. Detroit. Flint up in this thing. North Kakalaka, Iowa. All right. Shout out to Inglewood. What's happening? So yes, indeed. It's what's up, man. Shout out to everybody pulling up in the building, man. I'm glad that y'all are gonna. I'm glad y'all here. I'm glad y'all are here. Anybody from Venezuela in the chat? Is there anybody from Venezuela in the chat? I want to know, because I would love to hear from a firsthand account what is going on the ground. I would love to hear a firsthand account as to the conditions and, you know, what people are actually saying, and also the anomaly that is taking place with the red lights in the skies. The red lights in the skies. Okay, let's play these red lights. Let's go right into it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even want to hold y'all. There's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
Anyhow, right now, Venezuela just had the strongest fucking earthquake in 100 years. But people are so used to the chaos now that, you know, everybody's still watching football. Everybody's still sharing the World Cup. I'll keep an eye on all my social media, and I'll keep in my mind after this that this is why this fucking planet is so fucked up. Because we are so ignorant that we ignore all the things that are actually happening to us, and we entertain ourselves with all the bullshit that the system gives us to turn off our feelings, to turn off our fucking souls, because they want an entire society of soulless fucking demons. And you, all of you who are right now just ignoring what the fuck is happening. Oh, you prayed so much for Palestine. The same thing that is happening in Palestine with bombs and everything is the same chaos that they are bringing to the entire fucking planet. Everywhere you see fucking destruction, and they're killing people and children and destroying the infrastructure, is because they have a fucking plan to rebuild everything with new technology. So keep your fucking eyes open and stay conscious. And next time you want us to pray for somebody, remember to pray for the fucking whole planet, because we are all fucking fucked.
One earthquake. It was two. just 39 seconds apart. The Venezuela earthquake wasn't just one earthquake, it was two, just 39 seconds apart. Here's what happened. On June 24, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck about 160 kilometers west of Caracas, near Morón. Before people even had time to react, a second, even stronger magnitude 7.5 earthquake hit almost the exact same area just 39 seconds later. For years, enormous pressure had been building where the Caribbean plate slides past the South American plate. The first earthquake suddenly released that pressure. But instead of ending the disaster, it transferred stress to a nearby fault, triggering the second, stronger earthquake. Because both earthquakes were shallow, the ground shook with devastating force, causing widespread damage across northern Venezuela. Scientists call this a doublet earthquake, and it's one of the rarest and most dangerous seismic events on Earth. Follow for one curious thing explained.
A doublet, a twin, a doublet earthquake, man. That shit just don't happen, y'all. Like, this is not random.
8,000 people are missing after the earthquakes in Venezuela. And these earthquakes keep happening across the world because just now, Afghanistan just had a 6.6 magnitude earthquake that was felt by over 30 million people. And no one seems to figure out why these earthquakes are happening back to back. In my opinion, these earthquakes have to be a part of some sort of biblical event, or it's a country testing out weapons.
Yeah, I don't see it kind of like any other way either. It wouldn't, it wouldn't be anything else but that. It's either some new form of, CERN, right? Like it's either some new form of direct energy weapon, or we're dealing with some real ancestral energy right now, and this shit is unprecedented. It's either or. It's not random, okay? That none of this is random. All of these earthquakes going off. Is it in alignment with the alien invasion? I won't necessarily say that. However, it is something taking place, and it's not what's being told in the mainstream media.
Try to convince us that that's what happened, but I'm going to tell them the truth as we speak. Goodbye. Hello, Zashang bunen diminyatsia, bonjour, guten morgen, or guten tag. Привет, namaste, ni haoma, malweni. For anybody and everybody that missed it last night, it is very unlikely that Venezuela had a 7.2 and a 7.5 earthquake, and I'm going to tell you why. If Mexico, Colombia, Cuba y la otro país acerca de Venezuela wasn't turning up to the point of a 5.0, a 6.0, or a 7.0, you're not going to randomly have a 7.0 just hit Venezuela. Because it would also hit the other islands, just like the earthquake of that 9.1 of December 26th of 2004 that hit other islands other than Thailand and the Maldives, and just like the earthquake that hit in March 11th of 2011 of Tohoku, Japan, on 15,000 people. Yeah, that also shaped up a lot of other countries. It wouldn't just touch Venezuela. And with Florida having a reference of an earthquake last week because of Cuba, recuerda eso. They're going to pretend that they signed a ceasefire deal today with Iran. They did not. Actually, they're mad at Iran because Iran is currently charging tolls on the Strait of Hormuz, an idea that Donald Trump had came up with, but Iran was like, we should probably be doing that anyway. Marco Rubio said he had an issue with it. Iran said, I don't give a fuck, dude. Let me explain to you what's going on between the SAVE Act and the act that was supposed to pass for affordable housing to make sure that a majority of Americans are not allowed to vote. Donald Trump is the only entity that shot down the affordable housing for Americans. It was signed through the House of Representatives. It was signed through the House of the Senate. It was signed by both Republicans and Democrats. It was passed. And because they won't pass the SAVE Act bill, he won't create affordable housing for Americans, even under the interest rates that we're at. So because they literally won't do something he wants them to do, he's stopping the ability for majority of Americans to find housing and find houses they can afford. Like Kamala was trying to tell you. I know, it's our fucking fault. Pay attention to what's happening in Europe and France, Spain, England. That heat wave is something they haven't experienced before, to the point where it might put them into a lockdown. They're already being restricted on traveling. That's BOBID material. And if El Nino currently gets to that degree in the United States of America, yes, we can also go into martial law and lockdowns for severe weather, which you probably should pay attention to because it's already happened in Mississippi and Alabama. We literally had a tornado warning in Colorado yesterday. So look alive, this is part one. We'll be back for part two. Stock market is doing funny things, but the NASDAQ currently has been taken down and pulled down today by Apple. God, I love my investments. Bitcoin's sitting over at 58,000. Do you know how far that dropped? Talk to you soon. Deo Bisque.
Apocalyptic level catastrophe. I mean, the footage coming out of this major Venezuelan port city is genuinely some of the worst devastation that I have ever seen in real life or even in movies. I mean, this entire city has been leveled, with the exception of some majorly damaged buildings, seemingly also on the verge of collapse. The international community doesn't realize this, but this happened on a major national holiday. Everyone was out of school. Families were home together in these buildings. And Venezuela doesn't have the infrastructure to dig through a city full of collapsed high-rise structures. So civilians themselves are currently desperately digging through the rubble, fighting against time to save their families who may or may not still be alive. And of the areas so far checked, almost 1,000 people have been confirmed dead, with nearly 4,000 found injured. I'm currently looking for search and rescue efforts to recommend as far as donations are concerned. But if you would like to help now for relief efforts, I highly recommend Samaritan's Purse. I have been covering catastrophic events for years now. Samaritan's Purse has been there consistently for each and every one of those events, honorably and effectively. And later on, we don't hear anything about any BS or fraud involved.
Yesterday with a value of $850 million at the ripe age of 94, cozy and comfy in his bed. And every dollar of that $850 million was made off the backs of artists who did not make it to live past 50. Everything I'm about to say is verifiable information that you can find publicly on the internet. All right, let's jump in. The Aircrafts, 1967. One of the greatest soul singers to ever have lived, signs to a major record label through a subsidiary imprint, and then dies in a plane crash at the age of 26. 3 days after he recorded Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, a record that was not even finished by him because he did not live to finish it. The record company went ahead and filled the song with whistling as a placeholder and then released it anyway. This became the first post-death #1 single in music history. And when his label, after his death, went to claim his catalog, they found that a major record label that shall remain nameless had already claimed it. The plane went down, the catalog went up, and the company kept making money. 2001, a young artist whose uncle owned her masters dies in a plane crash. A witness states that she was allegedly given a sedative before she was loaded onto that plane unconscious. That plane was found to have been over its weight limit and piloted by someone with a fraudulent license. Her music's been locked in a vault for over 20 years, and her estate sees almost none of her revenue. The plane went down, the catalog went up, and the checks kept coming. 2026, an artist publicly announces his leaving his record label, saying on camera that he had made them tens of millions of dollars that the record company owes him. He gets his independent album going, starts off on his first world tour, and dies in a helicopter crash. Age of 32. Aircraft went down, catalog went up. The checks keep coming. Now let's talk about the ones that weren't aircraft, okay? 1996, an artist who was actively trying to unify the world through rap and who had cut the labels out of the beef between rap artists that they were profiting from is shot in a major American city in a car that he was not driving. 6 months later, the artist who this artist was beefing with is signed to the label the other artist was beefing with, that is actually co-founded by the same executive that died yesterday, is also shot in a major American city. Almost 30 years later, and both of their catalogs have generated over hundreds of millions of dollars since their deaths. 2019, an artist who owned everything, his store, his block, his label, was days away from meeting with LAPD about community investment, then shot outside his own business. A man was convicted, but the community never accepted the lone gunman story. He was 33. That the executive that died yesterday did not just own one record label. He was part of a an empire, if you will. He co-founded the label that most of these artists who have died in unsolved murders belong to. He co-founded the label that signed a group of 3 women who filed for bankruptcy despite making the record label $23 million. One of those women who died in a car accident in a car that she was not driving at the age of 30. Same man who discovered a young woman at 19 with a voice that could shake a house down, shaped her, molded her career, owned her voice and her body, and owned her entire catalog, decided to continue on with a party after they found her dead in a bathtub the night before. He was quoted saying she would have wanted the music to play on. She was 48. He lived to be 80, and during those years collected off of every single one of her hit songs, including after her death. Now, here's what nobody wants you to understand, right? This is not illegal because the major labels have something that's called the Death and Disability Clause, which states that upon the death of the artist, the label retains full ownership of the catalog and can continue to profit from said catalog indefinitely. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is a clause. It's in stone. It's litigated. Look it up. This was designed to ensure that if the artist happens to die in a mysterious plane crash, helicopter crash, drug overdose, whatever the case may be, the machine keeps running. They keep making money after they're gone because the artist is replaceable, but the catalog is forever. Now, there are many other people that I could have brought up, I could have named, but I'm not going to name anybody else. All I simply did was read to you public information that is well documented about that music industry executive who died with a worth of $850 million that the industry wants you to believe was a legend worthy of being honored. And I just want to be sure y'all understand exactly who it is this legend was.
That's crazy. The same way that they stripped Michael Jackson, the same way that they stripped all of these artists after they defamed them and whatnot, is the same way that they need to strip that 850 million and spread it evenly amongst the people that Sly Davis, was out there stealing from. That's the only thing that they could do in the industry to make it right at this point. Because truth be told, there's so many people that are complicit in this in this devil's reign of terror, right? Same way that they try to point fingers and act like they was the judge and the jury when it came to P. Diddy. Let's let them keep that same energy for this one right here. You know what I mean? And just don't turn this into a sensationalized thing. There are there's funds that he has and resources that could be used right now to turn the tides and to get people into positions of ownership, because we're at a precipice in the music business right now. It's literally a precipice. It is literally the precipice. Like, you don't know if you going or coming or going. What takes place in the next 3 to 5 years is going to determine who remains in power and who benefits and who is going to be a last class citizen forever in perpetuity the next 5 years. Okay. So let's switch gears a little bit, right? And get into what is being made very apparent. And what is being made very apparent, ladies and gentlemen, outside of the fact that this is a red summer, outside of the fact that they are experiencing heat waves around the world, and it's hitting temperatures that they've never seen before, right? Check it out. Europe's heat wave turns fatal. Over 200 dead in Spain. 55 drowned in France trying to cool off, right? It's so hot that they're jumping into the rivers in Europe and whatnot, okay? It is so hot, right? The sun, Ra, as it was already prophesied, as it has been said, because, every year the sun is actually getting hotter and hotter and hotter, right? Those neutrinos are hitting the planet stronger and stronger and stronger. You're having more solar flares. You're having more explosions. The sky is active. The Schumann resonant is literally peaking 3 days in a row. Okay? Don't let nobody fool you. Shit is going down. Okay? Things are really happening on a cosmic level. They're trying to distract you with bread and circus. Don't fall for it. Channel that FIFA energy. That's cosmic. I don't care what nobody says. That's a cosmic energy that could be channeled. All right. So America, you know, the robber barons, the bully, the big bully and whatnot. What have they been doing? Well, they've been denying people entry into the United States of America, right? Under the premise that they don't want to give them a visa, but these are people that are staples in their not just in the community, but in the teams, right? They're instrumental, such as this the super fan from the Congo, right? That they tried to ban and they didn't grant him a visa. So what did a Congolese do? He stepped right in and filled that quote unquote placeholder. Because at this point, you can't stop you can't stop one of us. If you stop one of us, 10 of us will just pop back up. 10 of us will just sprout and whatnot. You know, there's no stopping this energy that we have. It's contagious. And when you think about it, you're witnessing our people in a fractured state, because once again, it's still, you know, I'm rooting for this team. I'm rooting for that team. I'm rooting for that team, right? Versus we just rooting for a whole continent together, or we're just rooting for one whole nation together. They're not ready for that. I don't think that this is what they really fear. Because if you could see the power that we have, just when you saw the Haitians pull up, like, damn, they you know, when you saw Congo pull up, there's clips of Congo pulling up in different states. The Cape Verdes in them, when they pulling up, when they scoring and stuff, the energy of Brazil. So just nations alone. What about a nationality pulling up? What does that look like? What does it feel like when a whole nationality, not just a nation, but a nationality, this is not predicated on a team, right? It's not predicated on a team. This is not predicated on a team that we don't own. This is not predicated on a sports team that we don't have no equity in. This is not predicated on a team that has a white man that's our owner. Nope. Imagine that cohesive energy. Imagine that victorious energy. Imagine that kinetic energy, right? For a purpose and a cause. Imagine that. That is what we are witnessing. That is what we are seeing. That is the fear of a BLACKAMOOR Messiah right there in black and white. That is it right there. So the power that we hold, our presence, our aura, our frequency, okay? Our potential, our power, our purpose. I'm talking about when we come in, we got a purpose. Our position. Yeah, nigga. Our heat. As we gonna heat. Our prerogative is how we see it. Yeah. That's what they don't like. Our melanin. We in the element. We got adamantium skeletons, not that gelatin. Magma. I'm talking about root ball. Warrior. Got body. Yeah, they afraid of that. On Francis. Yeah, when the ice is breaking. But not for real. That's what we see Africa rising. They like Africa rising. Nah, nigga, we rising. Yeah, Africa rising, FBA rising, Caribbean rising, Latin America rising, South America rising. We look good on that stage. Let's talk about it. We looking good. Bread and circus. Niggas look good on that stage. What are we talking about? Black man is shining on a world stage. Using his feet, nigga. This time around. Just using his feet, man. And then when the nations pull up and they put the camera on the crowds, our people are beautiful, bro. Our people, I don't want to deal with nothing. Our people are powerful. Our people full of energy. Our people are alive. I see life. Our people are alive. They happy. They beautiful. Their skin is glowing. They look healthy. They don't look scared. They don't look hurt. They don't look hungry. What we talking about? The woman understood the assignment globally. Hold on. I'm sorry, passport bros. God damn it. I mean, come on. Accept my apology. I didn't know. I had no idea. It just might be my YouTube algorithm. Niggas, y'all been moving around with a purpose. Y'all got reason to move around. No, respectfully, I love all of my women upon the states and everything. You know, Unc is there for you. But listen. Yeah, outside. Yeah, outside the perimeters. You know what they say, don't go outside the line. Yeah, nigga, outside. I'm drawing outside the lines. Yeah, outside the lines. It's pressure. Yeah, it's pressure. I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm talking about? It's pressure. You know? That's why they can't threaten me with a deportation. I'm like, oh, you gotta deport me to Cape Verde? I'm sorry. Don't do it. I won't do it again. Please don't send me. Yeah, nigga. If I get the what's the penalty for being on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Causing troubles. I'm gonna get deported. What they gonna send me? To Cape Verde, nigga? What they gonna send me to Kenya? I'm gonna get deported to the Congo. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. You know what I mean? But if they say they're gonna deport me to the Netherlands, I might hang up. You know what I'm saying? Where the Vikings is at, I'll be like, no. You know what I'm saying? I won't. You know what I mean? I promise you, I won't. I'll step down. Yeah, y'all sending me to Botswana? Huh? You gonna pack me up and send me to Nigeria? Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time. Fuck. Yeah, it's pressure outside, guys, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, and all of that. And it's only gonna get hotter. You know what I'm saying? The temperature's rising. Them people is feeling that heat wave because niggas is kicking their ass in the FIFA. You know, we don't care. We looking at the FIFA shit differently in the States. I understand. But I beg of you, you got to see it differently. You know? You must see it from different angle. This shit is like colonial Hunger Games. You know what I'm talking about? This is Wakanda Hunger Games to niggas. Like, this is life. It's different.
To be the greatest African comeback in the World Cup. Prove me wrong. DR Congo comes back against Uzbekistan. They took the lead in the 78th minute, bro. History in the making. I know we thought this game was not looking good when Uzbekistan scored in the first 10 minutes. DR Congo even came back with a goal in 8 minutes, and they caught a foul. VAR gotta go, bro. But this man right here, build him a statue. Not only does he draw the penalty, but he makes the penalty clutch. We all knew DR Congo needed another goal to advance, and guess what they did? And look, boom! Look what it means. This is their first time getting to this stage. I'm talking about this was cinema. Cinema. And just to put it away in the 90th minute, look where Wissa is going. He's not even looking at the goal, but somehow he made it. Build him a statue. All these African countries advancing is amazing, bro. Straight up history we're seeing right now. If you're not supporting the African nations, what are you doing?
Yo, the Africans are showing out. I'm telling you, bro. On some super what was that movie? That Netflix show where niggas had their powers activated. Like they are showing out for sure, for sure. Just anybody with melanin that I'm looking at, they showing their ass.
Oh my goodness, did you see this game? So the DR Congo, they're only their second World Cup ever, and their first in 50 years, they were down a goal in the.
So remember, we're talking about the 50-year marker. We're gonna cover it in the lecture tomorrow, but we're going to we want to highlight and we want to pinpoint that we keep seeing the 50-year marker pop up, whether it's 52 years, 53 years, 52 or 51 years, right? Haiti went through the same thing. They were back in the World Cup after 52 years. The Knicks win the championship after 53 years, right? Then you see this thing with Congo and whatnot, and that's another 50 years.
Late in the second half, they had an explosion of goals. They scored 3 in about 12, 13 minutes to fight and kick their way into the round of 32, the knockout round. What a victory. Shout out to DR Congo. I have picked them a couple of times because I got some DNA from there. So my people, my cousins, y'all got it done. You know what? No shame in your loss, Azerbaijan, because you're only the third former Soviet Union country to make the World Cup. And you played admirably. You had the lead. You were strong, but it was just too much. Those leopards, it's just like leopards, right? They strike. They might miss a couple of times, but they got a plan because they're thinking ahead. And before you know it, those goals start coming down from all over the place. So congratulations to DR Congo, because you know who they play in the knockout round? Jolly old England. Woo-hoo! This will be some good stuff. I can't wait to make a video and call that game. But
DR Congo versus mother effing England. I'm here for it, boy. I am here for it, man. Like this is yeah, this is some Hunger Game shit. You feel me? But it is what a stage is, a motherfucking stage. How about it? Energy is energy. Energy is energy. If you know what to do with it, if you got all of my fortune tellers, yeah, nigga, yeah, poly market, yeah, poly market, yeah, mm-hmm, yeah, poly market. If you do a lot of medicine and you could go ahead and cross into the future in the quantum, yeah, go to poly market, yeah. Put some chips down, cause I've been over there looking at. I'm not one of those poly marketers, but I'm seeing how they running them bags up on these games, and it's something crazy. So if you know how to tell the future, if you tapped in, well, go ahead and pull them receipts. You know what I'm saying? Go and cook, because this is where a lot of money is being made. Africa is rising. You saw it with the Sahel region, right? It started with Ibrahim Traore, and you're seeing these quote unquote supercell Africans activate and put on a stage to the point where they are going to boost their tourism. They're going to create more investment. Remember, this is social currency being created tonight. Social currency is being created in these games and whatnot. Cultural exchanges are taking place. What are you exchanging with your cousins in your or are you still caught up in the fact that you have no cousins and you're related to no one but yourself and whatnot, and you can't even, your hand is not open. But for those who have open hands, open hearts, and open eyes, right? How are you benefiting from the influx of all of these quote unquote beautiful, wonderful, magical people in your cities, in your states, and all around you, right? Because I know in Atlanta, a lot of people are benefiting and a lot of people are having great interactions, great exchanges with all of the influx of visitors from around the world. You know what I mean? They're absorbing the Atlanta culture. They tapping into the culture. They're purchasing and investing in the culture. They're spending money with the culture. And yeah, it is what it is. You feel me? Let us continue. For a place that's going through genocide, for a place that's been enduring genocide for so long, for a place that has endured all of these European robber barons, you know what I mean, stripping them of their dignity, stripping them of leadership, stripping them of their resources, robbing them blind, pillaging them, playing the Bears and the Oppenheimers and whatnot, them playing a part in extracting trillions of dollars worth of wealth out of the Congo while instigating conflict and whatnot, while arming these quote unquote rebels and things of that nature. Yeah, I would definitely say salute to anybody that's persevering against shit like that. You're considered to be the underdog. And I'm almost obligated to root for you. You know what I mean? I'm almost obligated to root for you. You feel me? Because I know that you have been, there must be something special about your nation. There must be something very unique about your DNA. There has to be something about the Congo that they've been held back for so long, similar to what they've done to the Haitians. There has to be something about it, just can't be regular resources. The resources are the people. Keep that in mind. There has to be something resilient about the Congolese that motherfucking King Leopold came over there and unalived 30 million of them damn near, pillaged them for rubber, for diamonds, for resources and all type of stuff. But here you have a people that still maintains pride, right? National pride. They maintain a level of proudness of who they are. Okay. Matter of fact, shout out to all of the Africans. Shout out to all of the nations. You know? Shout out to all of the nations. I don't know about Morocco, but yeah, shout out to shout out to everybody. You feel me? Everybody representing. You dig? Everybody that's representing that made it this far. Salute to y'all. But I know that FIFA has been Africa, you know, is put them on high, it's put them on a super duper big pedestal stage. Like the children, the elders, everybody is lit. Yeah, the Ivory Coast, they out there kicking ass and all of that. You feel me? So I don't see nothing bad coming out of that. I see all good things forming from those unions and forming from the energy that's going to be created in situations such as that. Okay. Let us shift gears, and I want to get into the fear of a Blackamoor Messiah conversation while we are here. Okay. Um, Once again, everything that you see going on, we're going to be able to prove how it's all related, and it's in perfect alignment with the lessons. It's in perfect alignment with the teachings and whatnot. It's in perfect alignment to what the master teachers, each one of the master teachers, have taught us over the years. You know that we are greater than we could ever fathom. Okay. Now, there's a reason why this is taking place. Okay. Who wants to take their who in the audience has some type of verifiable information to explain what it is that we're witnessing right now over the past few days? This happened immediately the day that the woman who is in Brazil, who is a world famous fortune teller, all of this stuff began to occur on the day that she said that there was going to be an alien invasion. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. There's a little delay, so sometimes we gotta just wait because it hits the people. It hits y'all a few minutes later, like a minute later. Portals. Loso Hendricks said portals maybe. That's a great point. When you look at it, it definitely looks like a lot of portals. You know, it does look like an alien invasion. If there were an invasion, you know, that's kind of what it would look like. Earthquakes would have something to do with an alien invasion. If you were to ask me, I don't think like alien invasions would be accompanied by a tornado, or alien invasions would be accompanied by a snowstorm. More than likely, the alien invasions would be accompanied by a earthquake. You feel me? So when we were talking about the ring of fire a few days ago, I said when I was speaking of the ring of fire, but I did not say, and I didn't qualify the fact that Venezuela is not in the ring of fire. Okay. And the ring of fire, it did begin to erupt, but the Venezuelan earthquake, that was not a result of the ring. That's not in the ring of fire. Okay. So this is an anomaly that's taking place, and people would be like, "Oh, they're fracking." Well, can fracking explain earthquakes setting off all around the world? Because they're not fracking in every single one of those places at once. Oh man, that's HARP. They heated it up with the HARP. If that's HARP, they're hitting everywhere at once. You mean to tell me that they just, you know what I mean? They are charged up the harps to create earthquakes everywhere? Yo, yo, that they just want to they want to take Venezuela, and they punishing them for doing deals with their oil with China. So you mean to tell me Japan, China, Nepal, Peru, Mexico, Alaska, everybody got to suffer. Everybody's on the shit list. Everybody is getting hit at. I don't know, brothers. I have no idea. I don't know about that. We would have to. We would got to bring when it comes to stuff like that. It's receipt time. You know. It's definite. And every week is something. So it ain't like this is an anomaly. There's floods one week. Then there's hurricanes. One is El Nino. There's tsunamis. Then there's earthquakes. Then it goes back to floods. Like, don't get it twisted. This shit happens every week. Trust. We just so distracted. We so consumed by bread and circus that we don't even, you know what I mean? Remember the thing on a cruise and they were saying that it was going to take out half the population? What happened to that? Remember that? Remember the other one that was in Africa called Ebola? And that was supposed to take you out too? Yeah, whatever happened to that? Something always gonna take your ass out, right? So no, we just gotta live, bro. We just have to keep doing what we're sent here to do. We gotta stay on purpose. We gotta stay on point. We gotta stay focused. You know. So for everybody who purchases a ticket tonight for the lecture that's coming up tomorrow, what I'm going to do is give you an early copy. This book is not going to be out until we're looking at a 4th of July weekend release date, but it might be a little bit later than that because we do have some images that we want to add. But this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is our The Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. This is my treat seed. This is basically my thesis. Okay, this is my thesis. This is an academic paper. Okay, this will be peer reviewed. All right, I want to get this into colleges and things of that nature, but you have access to this paper. It's 30 pages. When you get your ticket and whatnot, we're gonna bless everybody who already bought a ticket, along with the people that are buying the tickets. You'll be able to get this, and this is gonna be a part of the study guide for the lecture. We'll be drawing from different parts of this and different chapters tomorrow as I break down my part of the lecture. Okay. This is a collection of different Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah lectures that I've done over 10 years. And we've put them together in the form of a thesis. And this thesis is going to, this is we're going to stand on this and we're going to be able to convict those culprits that are not being held accountable for the malice and just for the genocide. To be honest with you, I'm just going to say it what it is: the genocide against the messiahs, the genocide against the messianic ones, right? This is beyond a reasonable doubt. I took a theory and I've been able to create a theorem. So we're just at different points in the game right now. If we're going to celebrate 10 years, we're going to have to show and prove that we're going to take lectures and we're going to take out all of our lectures, because proof of work is something that I'm proud of. I have no qualms about anything that I'm doing and the consistency in which I do it. But what I do know is that I have a lot of work over the 10 years, right? And I'm going to shift that into curriculums. I'm going to shift that into something I could teach teach a college course about. I'm going to shift all of that research into books that I will be an author and I will publish, and those books will live longer than me, because that is how you take something that you built in front of the people and then you turn it into intellectual property that will, quote unquote, live longer than you and feed your children's children. Okay. So if you're a nerd and you like to really nerd out on information and you're into some deep research, then this right here is right up your alley. Okay. This is right up your alley. We're going in, we have research, we have footnotes, everything that you need to tie everything back. Okay. None of this is, we're not speculating, we're just giving you the facts and we're laying it all out. Religion as a Weapon, the Schofield Bible, Prosperity Gospel, and the CIA Theology Project. Okay. The CIA's Liberation Theology Suppression Campaign. Liberation theology emerged in Latin America in the 1960s, a theological framework rooted in the political and material liberation of the poor. Its primary theorists argued that structural sin requires structural response and that the church has an obligation to the material liberation of the oppressed. Declassified CIA documents confirm what the research has long argued. The CIA identified liberation theology as a communist adjacent threat and funded its systematic replacement with prosperity gospel frameworks across Latin America. Get this, Sub-Saharan Africa, and where else? The Black American South. The mechanism was simple: fund the churches that preach individual wealth as divine reward and individual poverty as individual failure. Defund and discredit the churches that preach collective liberation. So why has the churches turned into bastions of individualism? Why have the churches descended into rest havens for narcissists and people who are quote unquote sadomasochists? Because of the fact that they sold out a long time ago. They've been infiltrated and compromised and whatnot, and the leadership from the top down was corrupted to the core, right? Not only corrupted to the core, thank you for your purchases, I see them coming in. Not only corrupted to the core, right, but they have corrupted the flock. Okay, the prosperity gospel was implemented on our people, not just on one front. As you can see, it happened in Latin America, it happened in sub-Saharan Africa, right? The same civil war is going on in the Sudan, where they're exterminating the those Christians and whatnot that bought into that theology, right? The Arabs are doing that. Same thing is going on in Nigeria and whatnot. So the same thing happened in Liberia when they had the civil war, and you had General Butt Naked and all of them going up against the descendants of the Boule and the Talented 10th, right? People like W.E.B. Du Bois and them, they were hacking them up in pieces in Liberia. Shout out to my bro Putu, right? In the Liberian Massive, okay? Because he gives me all of the information and he breaks down everything that went bad when that whole shit collapsed in Liberia. It is a very compelling story if you haven't heard it. But anyway, when we go and we look at this, the systematic quote unquote suppression, the psychological suppression that so many people have, people that are even coming into the Americas from Latin America, they were hoodwinked. They were quote unquote by these missionaries, by these NGOs and whatnot. You feel me? They were being systematically oppressed through the religion at the same time that they were doing it in Africa, at the same time that they were doing it in the South. When Che Guevara and Simon Bolivar and all of them, when they were kind of pushing back against the gringos and whatnot, they were also trying to eradicate them from these quote unquote NGOs. They were trying to eradicate them from these NGOs, which are the evangelical sized Christians, which are Christian Zionists, which you already know how they move, which are the descendants of whoever did the most heinous things to melanated people on this continent. Those descendants are the people who call themselves the evangelicals and the Zionist Christians and things of that nature of today, right? So as a result of this quote unquote psyop, as a result of the CIA funded program that interrupted and disrupted the quote unquote black collective liberation, right? Like the church that they murdered those people in South Carolina, Dylan Roof, when he went in the AMA church, those type of churches, they banged on that, right? The result, across 3 generations, a black church tradition that once produced Frederick Douglass, Nat Turner, Martin Luther King Jr., and Malcolm X has been largely captured by a theological framework that tells its members that God rewards the faithful with material prosperity, and the answer to structural racism is personal spiritual improvement. So in 2022, on Third Eye Thursdays, I said the CIA didn't just infiltrate governments, it infiltrated God, right? So then we have the rise of now. So when they corrupt the religions and whatnot, you would think that, you know, that's just the end of it. No, that is not the end of it, because what they've done is, and as you can see with certain people who've been conquered or compromised in religion, you'd be like, damn, they look like they are practicing a religion, but it's just not my religion. You'd be like, what religion is this Eddie Long looking, you know what I mean? Keith Copeland Kenneth Copeland looking type of preachers. Like, what are they worshiping? Because it's not the humble and meek Jesus with the see-through linen tunic on. No, that's not their God. No, they are into Frankism. They are into antinomianism, right? They are practicing religions that transgress against your religion or what your concept of religion is, right? The Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah core document traces a theological lineage that connects Jacob Frank's 18th century religion of sin to the contemporary behavior of certain elite networks in ways that have been confirmed by independent researchers across multiple disciplines. Jacob Frank taught that the redemption comes through transgression. I'm going to repeat that, and it might go over certain people's heads and whatnot, but always, if you do your due diligence, just go and return to that statement right there, because that sums up a lot of people saying, how could they do that? Why would they do that? What is their motivation for doing that? Them people don't really be doing that. Y'all be playing, man. Leave them people alone. Let them play soccer. That's how people see it. But I'm like, no, go and research religion of sin, and then go and research redemption coming through transgression. So I could redeem my people by transgressing. The more I transgress against God, because the black man is God. So the more I transgress against God, Frederick Nietzsche, God is dead, my nigga. When they were chopping their heads on guillotines and they were cleaning up all of those niggas in Paris and those black royalty all up and down Europe, right? They were like, nigga, God is dead. The fuck? We got him on a stake. The Inquisition killed God. We broke God's back on a in the torture chambers during the Inquisition. That's what the Jesuits said. Jacob Frank said that redemption comes through transgression, that breaking the sacred laws of the old order accelerates the arrival of the new one, right? American Gods TV show, right? Breaking the sacred laws of the old order, right? Accelerates the arrival of the new one. Okay? His followers, after his death in 1791, converted outwardly to Catholicism, integrated into European aristocratic aristocratic networks and maintained their theological commitments in secret. So they became cryptos, right? Crypto Fabians, crypto Frankists, using Catholicism as a cover, using Islam as a cover, using Judaism as a cover. It's just a jacket. It's designer, it's a flock or a frock, and they take it off, similar to how they take off the mask and whatnot, similar to how they take off the skin suit. The fear of a Blackamoor Messiah archive documents their connections to the Asiatic Brethren, a Masonic esoteric order that explicitly integrated Frankist and Sabbatian theology, an Asiatic Brethren. Martinism, a Christian mystical order that absorbed Frankist apocalyptic and antinomian symbolism. Go and look that word up too. Antinomian. Big word. Big word. Antinomian. Because that's real big in their practice. The Ordo Templi Orientis, which was the OTO, Aleister Crowley's incorporation of ritual transgression as what? Spiritual practice. So when you got these freaky when you got the freaky yogis and whatnot, where the Dalai Lama was putting his tongue in a little kid's mouth, yeah, that's ritual transgression disguised as spiritual practice. You feel me? Modern transhumanism, right? So that's Peter Thiel, that's Jeff and all of them. That's the Sam Altmans and all of them. Modern transhumanism, the parallel structure, rejection of natural/divine limits, right? They're rejecting death. They're rejecting old age. They're rejecting it. They're saying, no, we're not agreeing to it. We're rejecting that. Fuck the divine law. We're stretching life because we got money. Pursuit of hidden knowledge, right? That's the Promethean myth. Immortality as explicit goal and creation of a new messianic species. Yeah. The parallel is not coincidental. Both Frankism and transhumanism reject inherited moral limits. They pursue godlike power through hidden knowledge available only to elites and explicitly seek to replace the existing human being with a superior version. That's the same thing that the Frankists wanted to do. So they just rebranded themselves to transhumanisms, that you're seeing them in the real time. They're the ones sitting at the table with the president. I mean, at that's the 71 trillion that flew to China with Trump. Ooh, the Frankist Messiah. I like that. Write that down. Ooh. The Frankist Messiah and the transhumanist singularity are the same apocalyptic vision in different technological vocabularies. Wait a minute. Shit. Mine is slow upon the ting, man. Blood clot. That's definitely where the word Frankenstein comes from. Everything that you hear Frank, all of the Frank shit, but definitely Frankenstein. Frankenstein is paying homage to the Frankists. Now, when you remember the sword or the word and whatnot, free your mind and the rest will follow. So as you start to learn some of these terminologies and whatnot, you'll go back and look at shit and be like, oh, y'all was literally talking to each other. That's cute. Yeah, that's cute. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all was flirting with each other and shit like that. Y'all was writing love letters to each other in front of us. You know, how endearing. But yeah, Frankists. Anything with that Frank, pause. That's them. That's them pulling up. Okay, I'll be frank with you. You know, the same way that they have this thing with the worship of the dog. and you see Jack everywhere. It's Jack of spades, the Jack of hearts, the Jack in the Carter deck. That's the jackal. That's all jackal talk. That's all dog talk. That's the dog star. Okay. So Frankenstein, you know, Frank from American Gangster, Frank Miller, Frank White, you know, I could go on, but we got a lot to read, you know. Jack in the Box, Jack of all trades. Savon Beaumont breaks that shit down. Savon Beaumont, he slides on that when he talks about the jackal and the worship of the dog-headed gods. Whew. Yeah, he smoked that. Frankfurter, you know? Yeah, the Frankfurter. Jack-o'-lantern. Jackson. Yeah, Jackson. Jack-o'-lantern. Franklin Saint, right? Franklin Saint was that's my dude. That was Idris, right? No, Franklin Saint is from Snowfall, right? Franklin Saint, right? Frank White. Benjamin Franklin. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Frankly, my dear. Okay, lecture number 5, COINTELPRO 2.0, the digital continuation of physical suppression. The FBI's counterintelligence program, which is called COINTELPRO, ran officially from 1956 to 1971. So in 1973, when hip hop was created, when the Knicks won the chip the last time, they were the whole Watergate scandal and President Nixon and all of that, his dirty work, the fact that he had a program called COINTELPRO that was executing messiahs. They were executing black messiahs, and the Watergate scandal exposed COINTELPRO, right? When they broke into the office and got the files and everything, COINTELPRO was outed. The program was outed and whatnot. The program officially ended. The operational logic was not. When the Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah archive documents is the digital continuation of the same operational logic with updated tools. So the Cambridge Analytica scandal that shook the world and whatnot in 2016, when it was found out, it was discovered, the Cambridge Analytica harvested 87 million Facebook profiles without user consent. So this was like the first time where you saw a mass, quote unquote, data mining and whatnot, and they utilized those data minings for election results. This was on the heels of Trump's first presidency. Stephen Bannon and some other colorful characters, the Mercer family, Robert Mercer and his daughter Rebecca Mercer, billionaires and whatnot. They were in alignment with Breitbart, Steve Bannon and all of them. They were also in alignment with probably Jeffrey's network. They funded a British firm, right, called Cambridge Analytica, who utilize Meta. They utilize Facebook marketing. Basically, they utilize Facebook marketing and dumped a lot of money into it, but they were also creating character profiles using the Ocean personality framework, right? The Ocean is an acronym for openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And they used a micro-targeting messaging to manipulate political outcomes in the United States, the United Kingdom, and multiple African and South American elections. So Cambridge Analytica manipulated the Nigerian election. They were going up in Africa. So Cambridge Analytica had perfected geo-targeting and basically building echo chambers around their targets, to whereas they were the first ones who were able to tweak the algorithm to whereas you would just see negative coverage about Hillary Clinton all on your timeline, rumors, negative shit, fake accounts, bots, all of that. They were able to create an environment, an echo chamber around their targets, right? To manipulate the minds of their targets with information that they were choosing to dump inside of these echo chambers. That's what Cambridge Analytica was doing with Facebook. This was a while ago, and they got found out about it. They got exposed and shit. They was on Capitol Hill, all type of stuff, but nothing really came out of that. But the data helped because people were able to see how far these people are going and what it is, what type of new tools they're using to basically MK Ultra, manipulate people's subconscious. The movie with Leonardo, Inception. This is Inception. This is Inception. This is exactly what this is what Meta perfected. Planting the idea all the way 3 levels down into your subconscious without you realizing it, and also going into your quote unquote deepest caverns of your most wealthiest deposits, where you have certain ideas stored in a vault. They were able to walk right into those vaults without a mother effing key and take out some of your brightest ideas and run with that shit. Inception. That's what the internet became. That's what Meta became, y'all. Maybe not time for MySpace, but that's definitely what's happening with Meta. And then later on, the AI started doing that as well. So the movie Inception, it shows you that people guard their billion-dollar ideas with their life. And they were hiring people. Competition was hiring other people to do what? To break into people's subconscious mind and extract their deepest and darkest trade secrets, which is their IP, which is the difference between somebody being a trillionaire and somebody being a thousandaire. How well did you guard your quote unquote $1 trillion idea? Because the minute somebody sees it, it's no longer yours. It's inside of the stream, right? So Cambridge Analytica and what they were doing with their data mining and the way that they weaponized it, they were able to persuade Black voters to vote Republican, and they were persuading them not to vote at all. This is COINTELPRO logic applied to psychographic data. Identify the consciousness that threatens the existing order, target it with precision tools, and neutralize it without leaving fingerprints. Then fast forward, you have the Palantir architecture, the digital moon. Palantir Technologies, co-founded by Peter Thiel. Are y'all buying y'all tickets? Because this is literally your book. You're gonna have this. This is literally going to be handed to you on top of an 8-hour lecture, right? And the lecture is gonna be given similar. I'm giving it the collegiate experience. You know what I mean? I'm treating this thing like the highest forms of research, all facts, notes, you know what I'm saying? You know, sources, main sources and everything. So we could all do our research and stand on this shit. These people have a campaign that started way before J. Edgar Hoover. This started in the Inquisition in Spain against the Moors and whatnot. This started in the Inquisition against the Moors. All the way back during the Reconquista, it was the fear of the BLACKAMOOR messiahs. And it carries on today, and we got proof, right? We got proof that they don't want to see us rise up, that they don't want to see us come together inside of these stadiums and root not just for a soccer team or a football team, but root for our sovereignty, root for our independence. You know, I'm talking about root for our ancestors. How about that? You know what I mean? With drums playing and whatnot, with no restriction, with nobody looking over us, with no damn permits about noise and sound and when you could do shit. No, not at all. No, we're heading towards an experience where we're going to collectively, the shit that you saw in New York take place, where they exploded over the Knicks and whatnot. We could do that outside of winning a basketball game. But of course, we're going to win the sports. We're going to get the bread and circus out the way. The sports is the preliminary. It is a preliminary. It's a teaser. You don't talk down. We don't try to diminish. No, it's a teaser. It's a dress rehearsal. Respectfully. Napoleon Hill said that you have to visualize shit and feel it. Go to Centennial Park, go to one of them games, and just close your eyes and feel victory, feel power, feel the energy. You know what I'm talking about? You could channel that. You could transmute it. You could turn it into anything that you want to turn it into. Forget the fact that there's a game plan. This is metaphysics. We are magicians. We the sorcerers from Corsica. It's money to be made. If that's what you into. If it's networks, it's people to meet. If that's what you into. It's history to be documented. If that's what you into. So let's get into Palantir. Palantir, co-funded by the CIA's In-Q-Tel, is data integration and analysis platform that synthesizes surveillance inputs from multiple sources. I'm talking about multiple sources. Palantir is connected to the CCTVs. They're connected to social media. They're connected to the financial data. They're connected to communications metadata. And they're connected to biometric databases. And they're able to compile all of this information and to put it into actionable intelligence profiles, right? So they're able to compile information, resources, and target. They know how to target the threat, right? They are involved in all of the military conflicts that you see taking place right now, all the way up into the Congo. They are part of the genocide in the Congo. Their hands are dirty. They have blood on their hands. They are a very war hungry, bloodthirsty, you know what I'm saying, demonic entity, right? The Gurdjieff cosmological framework provides the most precise metaphor. Palantir is the digital moon, right? Just as the Gurdjieff, I'm not if somebody knows how to pronounce it, let me know so I don't have to chop it up. Just as the Gurdjieffian moon captures and consumes the unconscious energy of mechanical humans, Palantir captures and processes the data emissions of unconscious digital behavior, every scroll, every click, every location ping, and converts them into intelligence products. For communities of sovereign consciousness, people who attend lectures, organize study groups, build independent media platforms, maintain ancestral spiritual practices, Palantir represents continuous identification, profiling, and monitoring. The conscious person does not become invisible to the digital moon, but they stop feeding it unconsciously. The ELF wave question, sound frequency and cognitive sovereignty. In the 2013 Note Houston lecture, documented in Hip Hop Southern Roots archive, it raised questions that have only become more urgent in the decades since. What are ELF waves? What is the relationship between sound vibration, frequency, and human cognition? And what exactly is being put into the music? Extra low frequency, elf, right? Because Clive Davis was an elf. He had a hook, he had a hoof foot. He had like a club foot. He looked like an elf. He was very little. He looked like a Keebler elf. They even said that, I think that they said that the Keebler elf was he was like the reference photo for the Keebler. He was like a muse and shit for the elves. So the ELF waves operate between 3 and 30 hertz and they're documented to penetrate the human body and have measurable neurological effects. The U.S. military, Project ELF, use ELF waves for submarine communication. Independent research has documented ELF effects on human brainwave activity, including the induction of specific mental states. The question raised by the 2013 lecture, whether commercial music distribution infrastructure is being used as a delivery mechanism for cognitive modification, remains unproven and contested. What is not contested, the Senegambian musical traditions documented in the 2020 archive, the banjo, the bardic poetics, the malissima, the heterophony, were systems that serve specific consciousness activating functions in their original cultural context. Their capture, commodification, and structural modification by the commercial musical industry represents the suppression of the functions, regardless of whether ELF weaponization is occurring. In the beginning, there was the drum, freedom drum inscription, documented in the Note-a-Ledge archives. Somebody asked, what is this white paper? This is the Note-a-Ledge white paper coming out of Note-a-Ledge University, one of the first white papers, one of the first theses that we put forward. And this is for Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah. Look forward to multiple theses, multiple white papers, and multiple peer-reviewed research papers that we're going to be putting out, especially for our college students and our college audience, because we have a very large college audience. Part 4, the esoteric architecture, the Kabbalistic virus, the Black Sun, and the spiritual dimensions of the time war. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the monologue. This is the monologue for our lecture that we are going to be doing tomorrow. Let me just take a commercial break real quick. You know what I'm talking about? Let me take a quick commercial break. Mañana, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow at 7 p.m., me and my twin brother, Blue Pillar, we are going to be returning to the lecture circuit, and we are going to be delivering our 10-year anniversary. This one is very special, ladies and gentlemen. Our 10-year anniversary, Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah 44. The first one I did was October the 16th. No, 10/10, October the 10th, 2016. So it was 10/10/16, 2016 at Nicholas Brooklyn Bookstore. We did the first Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah, and we are bookmarking the 10-year anniversary this Sunday, June the 28th. And we want y'all to pull up in the building. The QR code is right there, okay? You could scan the QR code and you'll be able to get access to tickets, all right? We'll be online. It is online only. It is not going to be live. We will be online in our respectful offices, okay? But this one is going to be packed with a lot of information. We've been compiling information over the course of 10 years. This is mostly going to be a victory lap for me. I'm going to be going over some of the past research over the past 10 years. And I'm also going to be interjecting new information, new assets and whatnot. And Blue Pill is going to come through as the Blue Pill always does. And he's going to shut it down with the Law 44, because you know what he does and you know how he does it. Okay. So this is definitely one for the books. This is one for the books. And speaking of book, when you get your ticket tonight, you're also going to have this right here, this 30-page treatise, this 30-page thesis, right, is going to be yours, all right? 28 pages, okay? Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah, all right? So let's get it. All right, let's get it. Let me play this video real quick. Let's get some more information going. Let's get this thing flowing.
Closely at how the modern economy operates. It functions as a massive extraction grid. specifically designed to keep individuals reliant on a centralized system for their food, shelter, and security. Whenever groups have tried to build independent communities outside this framework, they faced heavy surveillance and active suppression from federal intelligence. The entire system protects its dependency model. Breaking out of this cycle requires a methodical transition. We are moving through a concrete 3-step action plan to transition you from a passive consumer into a sovereign builder. Sovereign community institutions provide the only viable survival metric against an economy predicated on permanent dependency. The default life cycle of systemic control relies on a specific sequence to capture your labor. It starts with infiltration, moves to assimilation, and ends with complete amalgamation into the corporate structure. To route around this trap, we reverse this trap. We reverse the flow using 3 upward building pillars: mental clarity, economic sovereignty, and spiritual reconnection. Step 1 begins with mental divestment. Strip away your corporate job title and stop identifying yourself solely as an employee of someone else's enterprise. Identify a raw, inherent talent you already possess, whether that is cooking, coding, or media creation. This skill exists completely independent of an employer. Breaking the psychological programming of going to get a job is the absolute prerequisite to the reality of creating one. In the mid-20th century, participating in the economy meant standing on an assembly line. You relied entirely on a massive corporation for the physical tools of production. Production is decentralized. A sovereign builder takes their individual skill and turns it into a self-contained micro-institution. Formalizing this skill through a legal structure like an LLC legitimizes your operation and protects your independent income stream. Establishing a direct-to-community monetization pipeline allows you to bypass traditional corporate gatekeepers entirely. Potential builders often stall out in analysis paralysis, waiting for massive external funding or official permission. Execute immediately. Use the laptop, camera, or software you already own to begin production today. Formalizing your talent shifts your status from a replaceable labor commodity to an independent economic engine. Individual independence is the starting line. Step 3 involves scaling that economic power through cooperative economics and localized funding networks. Consider the math of a community pool. Gathering 30 trusted individuals who commit to pooling just $20 a week creates an immediate capital source. This consistent action generates $600 a week, creating an annual working capital pool of over $31,000. This localized capital pool functions as a sovereign bond. It bypasses traditional banking restrictions, providing the cash required for down payments and industrial equipment leases. This specific capital tier enables the acquisition of physical assets, such as industrial screen printing machines or delivery vehicles, which serve as the foundation for larger land acquisitions over several years. Sovereign groups use digital tools to locate and purchase existing industrial infrastructure, utilizing their pooled capital to acquire distressed or for-sale local warehouses. Collective ownership over the means of production acts as the ultimate firewall, protecting your community from larger systemic economic downturns. Step 4 addresses the human element. The primary internal threat to any sovereign community structure is the Judas factor, collapse driven by ego, jealousy, and infiltration. Implementing a strict defensive framework is required before a single dollar is pooled. This means acquiring credibility, cultivating discipline, and displaying congruence in every action. Historical success relied on these principles. Economic models fail without absolute integrity and strong ideological grounding. Mathematical economic independence is strictly capped by the strength of your social cohesion and trust. You now possess the sovereignty blueprint: mental divestment, individual production, and pooled community capital. The end state shifts your role. You're no longer waiting for external salvation. You've become an active node in a distributed network of sovereign builders. Identify your inherent skill, map out your first independent income stream, and initiate the $20 a week conversation with 3 trusted peers. Surviving the extraction matrix requires a complete transition from passive consumption to the proactive execution of a community-wide sovereign strategy.
So these are different, explainer videos that I have sprinkled throughout my dissertation. Okay. Um, as you can tell, if you know what Notebook LM is, these are Notebook LMs that I'm putting together after building out a notebook for my Fear of a Blackamoor Messiah with about 300 sources. Okay.
Millennia, our cultures have been defined by the expectation of a singular, centralized hero. We imagine a chosen figure arriving to dismantle corruption and restore justice to a broken world. This model carries a catastrophic structural flaw. Power concentrated in one physical body is easy to track and easy to neutralize. Systems of control have spent centuries perfecting the art of assassinating, discrediting, or imprisoning individual threats. However, esoteric traditions offer a completely different perspective. They suggest the true messianic force is a decentralized, hidden energy, a frequency operating within the background radiation of the cosmos rather than a physical person. Shifting the definition of liberation from a single leader to a distributed force creates a system that is immune to traditional suppression. You cannot execute a frequency, and you cannot imprison an awakening that lives in millions of places at once. This distribution of power traces back to the Kabbalistic origin of our universe. This tradition describes an era before time, when reality was a perfect, unified vessel designed to hold the infinite light of the divine. According to the concept of Shevirat HaKelim, the vessel was unable to contain the intensity of that light. It fractured, sending brilliant shards spinning out into the darkness of a void. The result of this cataclysm was a fragmented reality. The original divine light became trapped as hidden sparks, embedded deep within the heavy, dense material of our physical existence. This suggests that human existence is a continuous rescue operation. We are here to locate these trapped fragments of light and liberate them from the material world. This animated diagram illustrates the tree of life, a structural schematic mapping how energy and consciousness flow through the different layers of our reality. At the absolute base of this architecture lies the terminal node. It is known as Malkut. Malkut represents the realm of total physical density. It is designed to function as a state of sensory lockdown, where material survival and the five senses dominate human perception so completely that they conceal the higher spiritual truths above. Modern pop culture eventually developed its own language for this ancient concept. The idea of the Matrix, a simulated reality that blinds its inhabitants to the truth, is a direct parallel to the terminal node of Malkut. The system maintains control by keeping consciousness anchored in this bottom layer. As long as our attention is fixed on the illusions of the material, the trapped messianic light remains scattered and dormant. For those trapped in the concealment of Malkut, the problem is mechanical. We need a way to bridge the gap between our physical world and the divine harmony located in the nodes above. This diagram highlights Yesod, or foundation, sitting directly above our world. It's the critical bottleneck for all energy. Note the vertical line connecting the red node through purple Yesod. It acts as a conduit, drawing divine energy down while pushing scattered sparks back up. This structural bridge manifests through individual awareness. When a person aligns their consciousness with these higher nodes, they function as the Yesod conduit in real time. The messianic function is to serve as this human bridge. By standing in the physical world while connecting to the source above, we facilitate the flow of energy required to restore balance to the system. This work of active repair is called Tikkun Olam. It is the process of locating, gathering, and elevating the fragmented light that was lost at the beginning of time. Tikkun Olam relies on decentralized action. It requires a multitude of individuals to recognize the divine sparks hidden in their daily lives and consciously raise them. The singular Messiah is an emergent property of the population. As this light anomaly shows, what appears to be a single bright structure is actually the collective sum of thousands of individual points of light merging together. The responsibility for repairing reality rests with the collective. A central figure cannot achieve what is, by its very nature, a task meant to be performed by the light within every human soul. If the sparks are distributed among billions of people, the final question is one of scale. How does decentralized action trigger a global paradigm shift? Networks often change through a principle known as coherence. When a small but highly aligned group begins to resonate at a different frequency.
Now, pay attention to coherence and what she's talking about. Think Clarence 13X, think conscious community, think the think what you're seeing right now in just society alone.
They can phase shift the behavior of the entire system without needing
Phase shift. I'm gonna bring it back, right? Phase shifting, coherence can phase shift the collective.
Networks often change through a principle known as coherence. When a small but highly aligned group begins to resonate at a different frequency, they can phase shift the behavior of the entire system without needing a total majority. Research into social tipping points suggests this threshold sits at roughly 5%. Once 5% of a population reaches a state of total coherence, it triggers a chain reaction that forces the remaining 95% of the system to align with the new state. This is the root of the fear of a messiah.
That's what y'all saw with New York. Let's talk about it. That's what you're seeing with FIFA. Coherence. The New York coherence. When that 5% got in alignment and the people was outside the garden and they was like, yo, the Knicks is gonna win this shit and we gonna take it this year. And Brunson, OG, my heart, my heart, my heart. When they got in that alignment, that shit popped off. You saw the coherence kick in, right? You seen everybody get on point, right? You seen everybody get in alignment, right? You seen everybody get on code. That's the coherence. That's what we need. You feel me? That's what we need.
The system isn't afraid of a single leader who can be removed. It is afraid of you. The realization that when 5% of us serve as the conduit for this frequency, the entire structure of our reality begins to change. Today, the pillars of the 20th century social order feel less stable. But if we look past the individual headlines, we can see these isolated scandals and controversies as symptoms of a coordinated esoteric event. We are seeing cultural figures publicly defy the mechanisms of social erasure. They are moving outside the established boundaries of the media matrix, and crucially, they are surviving the attempts to silence them. Athletes and influencers are increasingly ignoring their public relations scripts, using their massive reach to broadcast hidden histories and narratives that contradict official institutional accounts. At the same time, we're watching a rapid erosion of the hierarchies that once protected untouchable figures in the entertainment industry, as long-held secrets are suddenly thrust into the public record. This instability has reached the institutional level. The narratives of trusted medical and scientific bodies are fracturing as public records reveal that foundational pandemic-era policies were often implemented without a basis in scientific data. Mystics and esoteric scholars suggest this isn't just a period of bad news. They identify this simultaneous breakdown as Shevirat HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels. From this perspective, the current chaos isn't a sign of the end. It is the first stage of a cosmic repair process powered by a transformative force called messianic energy. To understand the shattering, we have to look at what the vessels actually are. In the esoteric sense, these are the structures.
Remember the shattering? Remember, what's my dude? Samuel Jackson, right? The Shattered. And also, it goes back into what we were saying that, do not, there's a lot of reverse propaganda going on, right? All of that tragedy, all of that drama that is it real people are going through, it's orchestrated. It's a part of the shattering.
The cultural and institutional systems that are built to hold and organize human potential. Figures like Quincy Jones helped build the architecture of this modern matrix. They created the massive fusions of music, film, and television that defined global culture for decades. This cultural system established order through specific sonic frequencies, celebrity idol worship, and the concentration of institutional wealth, creating a world that prioritized control and systemic inequity. In the tradition of Tikkun Olam,
Clive Davis was the orchestrator. He was the Geppetto to Quincy Jones' Pinocchio. Pause.
or repairing the world, a divine transformative light is trapped inside rigid material structures. To evolve, these structures must be shattered by a new frequency, releasing the energy they can no longer hold. This means that for a system to be truly repaired, its foundational idols, its dominant frequencies, and its deepest hidden secrets must be brought to the point of total failure.
That's why the Epstein files got leaked and whatnot. That's why Trump is, being exposed. He's falling apart. That's why he's driving the government into the ground. That's why acceleration is turned up. That's why Wiener's laptop got leaked with the Podesta emails. All of this is by proct. It's all by design.
This process creates a cultural awakening that the establishment often fears as a new, uncontainable consciousness. It is the realization that the world we've been shown is only a shell. This aligns with the archetype of Mashiach ben Yosef, the chaotic precursor whose role is to challenge the established order and prepare the way for truth, often through personal suffering and public exile. We see this playing out today, when figures are no longer
That's Kanye in the storyline.
Successfully canceled. It indicates that the media apparatus has lost its historical power to define and dictate reality for the masses. This loss of control is underscored by the sudden downfall of the old guard's compromised brokers, whose influence is dissolving as the old systems fail. As these disruptors survive, they demonstrate that the institutional mechanisms once used to enforce social compliance are no longer working as intended. The spell is losing its hold. The shattering is now moving from culture into global systems. Alchemists refer to this as negredo, the blackening, where the hidden rot within an institution is forced to the surface to be seen. This re-examination is evident in the shifting consensus around pandemic-era guidelines. Public health officials are now testifying that foundational recommendations, like 6-foot social distancing, were not based on data, but were empirical guesses. We see the same fracturing in geopolitical narratives. The old stories about Zionism, international order, and modern warfare are breaking down as the public gains access to information that contradicts official histories. Some perspectives suggest this shift isn't just human. They argue that this messianic energy strongly correlates with measurable changes in the electromagnetic environment of our entire solar system. In 2024, the sun has unleashed historic X-class flares. This surge in solar activity happens at the exact same moment our social institutions are experiencing their most intense upheaval. These frequency shifts are manifesting physically in our atmosphere, with vibrant auroras appearing in regions of the planet where they are almost never seen. This correspondence between solar physics and the instability of human structures reflects the Hermetic principle of as above, so below. The shattering is happening on multiple dimensions at once. We are currently living in the rubble of the old world. This is the transition period, the time after the vessels have broken, but before the new structure has been formed. In this space, it's vital to understand that the messianic force isn't a single leader coming to rescue us.
Nope.
It is an activation of a higher state of awareness within the collective. But every
That's that force that you feeling. That is that force that the collective is feeling. That is the messianic force. That's the spark. That's why Transformers and all of those Marvel movies, they always focus on the divine spark. It's always a cube, right? A tesseract and a spark, because that is the spark that they speak of. And we are those sparks.
Vacuum is dangerous. In the absence of the old vessels, there will be attempts to build new, even more restrictive systems of control to capture the released energy. We see these new vessels being offered now. Promises of salvation through artificial intelligence, transhumanism, and new digital idols meant to replace the ones we just lost. The Zohar teaches that messianic energy is actually a collective force. It suggests that every individual carries a spark of this potential, and the repair of the world depends on these sparks being gathered. The real challenge isn't finding a better leader to follow. It's the realization that external salvation is an illusion, and the work of repairing the world begins with the activation of your own consciousness.
What a way to end this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Man, oh man, this has been part 1, because there is a part 2, inshallah. For the fear of a BLACKAMOOR 44 monologue, as you can hear from the information that we're being shared. I got a whole lot of information like that. You know what I mean? I got a whole lot of information like that. I just like the way that it's given, you know, with the facts and everything. They put it together the right way. But the research is definitely there. And we are taking these people to trial. We're going to convict them. We're going to pack them up collegiately, non-emotionally. We're going to use the evidence, you feel me, that they all have left behind. And we're going to take the case up and prosecute them, because it seems that they have not been taken to the right type of court. And the defense, that we have not really cooked them on the stand. They've been sending babies to jail for 35 years. They've been acquitting people who've been murdering our people. Well, it's time to cook their toast. You know what I'm talking about? So them and they go on trial tomorrow. Fear of a BLACKAMOOR 44, featuring the twin pillars, red and blue pill. We will be in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Yes indeed, yes indeed. Only on Zoom. And this will be definitely available for my Patreons. My top Patreons, that is my SATURN members, Rainbow Opal members only. All right, you have access to everything that we do in terms of our monthly lectures, and this is us delivering. All of the ticket holders, you will be receiving this book right here. This book entitled The Fear of a BLACKAMOOR. All right, this is our research paper. Fear of a BLACKAMOOR Messiah. All right, this is the Fear of a BLACKAMOOR Messiah thesis. Okay, you will have access to this. This is your study guide. You'll be able to get into all of this research. So when you watch the lecture, you'll have this for your accompanying study guide. All right, Mentagasm, you got your ticket for tomorrow? Legend. Everybody that got their ticket for tomorrow, yeah, drop a 1 in the chat so I know y'all coming through. You know what I'm talking about? It is going to be on Zoom, so you'll be able to pull up. You know, we'll be able to chop it up, open up the microphone, open the cameras up, kick it, you know what I mean? See how everybody's doing, and then get right to the business. It will be recorded, so if you don't have the time to sit in front of a few hours, no worries. You'll be able to play it on playback in perpetuity, okay? In perpetuity. Shout out to Black Magic 363. Shout out to Source Guard. Shout out to America Sutton. Shout out to Blue Pill. Shout out to Jefferson. Shout out to Putu. You feel me? Shout out to the Liberian Massive. Everybody that came through and show love yesterday. We had a studio session. We made another one and another one. Put a classic up. So y'all gonna be hearing about that, the music, real soon. Summer 2026, big music, big God hop. Shout out to all of my KTLians. We will see you in the building. Peace, love, and light. All right. Y'all stay dangerous. Shout out to Africa on the rise. Shout out to the Messiahs. Shout out to the Messianic ones all around the world. Tap in, stay dangerous, and keep cooking. All right. You already know. Brrrr. Theta wave.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept the storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers. Fabric softener, jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch stores type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.